Hey, coming up right now, Congress inches closer to banning TikTok in the United States. We're going to tell you what users of the popular Chinese-owned platform need to know.
Also coming up, Senator Bernie Sanders wants to shorten work weeks to 32 hours without shrinking paychecks, how it could end up shrinking the workforce.
A little bit later on, Don Lemon demanded the sun, the moon, the stars, all from SpaceX boss Elon Musk. We got the inside dirt on Elon's decision to X Lemon's talk show from X.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We have prepared so extensively an hour just of great entertainment for you. If you go anywhere, I'll be very depressed. We'll be checking in with Matt Doolittle as well. We got big plans for the weekend, but tonight, you got anything going on tonight, Matty? You doing anything?
I get to go see Ghostbusters.
Oh!
My wife has had tickets for a couple weeks. I know you guys got to see the preview of the night.
Yes.
But here's what I'm excited for. It's finally her not going to see Dune 2. And Timothy Chalamet, her crush, I get to go see mine, Bill Murray. So she has seen Dune 3 times.
Wow.
The
second one, the one in theaters.
She's already seen it. Wow.
See it
Three
3 times.
times?
Good for her.
That's a commitment.
That's
I
a
couldn't
lot.
make it through 5 minutes of the first one.
It's a long movie too, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I always feel
I
like with
just-
these movies, they keep on getting longer and longer.
they do.
You have to dedicate. You're like, all right, the next 3 hours, what am I going to do?
Exactly. Have you heard about this whole missed RSVP note card that's being sent out? So this gal is a wedding planner, and she said, look, I've come up with a solution for people who are expecting an RSVP from their wedding guest and they don't get it. So we're going to send out a note to those guests who didn't bother to RSVP saying, sorry we didn't hear from you. We wish you could have joined us, but basically it's you're not coming to the wedding because you didn't RSVP in time. And so it's got people split. Like some people say, yes, finally a solution to this. And then other people say, this is so rude. What if I haven't made up my mind yet?
But they ask you, please RSVP by
By a
this
certain date.
Yes. And so you have decided because you did not make a decision, right?
Yes, but then a lot of people think, well, there's a window of opportunity there. So she's come up with a solution to say, the bride will send out a postcard to people who didn't bother to RSVP saying, sorry you missed the RSVP deadline. Wish you could have joined us, but we'll appreciate you in spirit. So basically saying, you're not welcome, the cutoff line is you haven't met the cutoff line.
I could appreciate that because and Matt, you just went through this. You're paying 30, 40, 50, even more than that per plate, and so you're trying to figure it all out.
Yes.
And one person can,
Those dates meant nothing. They meant nothing. We had people saying they weren't coming that came. People that definitely were coming the day before and they didn't show up. Like it didn't matter.
Do you think something like this would have helped?
We nudged people a month out. Like anybody we hadn't heard from, we're like, hey, we need a count because we got to put the deposits down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Didn't matter, and people still showed up that were like, oh, we're on the fence, and we're like, oh, last minute we got a sitter. Like, well, you didn't call me, so we had to get chairs, and then
the way they
it was a whole
charge.
seating debacle,
Right.
So it didn't matter.
Well, it all stemmed from this gal who had like a guest list of 200, and she hadn't heard from probably 50 or 60 of them. So she had to go through her whole guest list, calling people to find out, are you coming or are you not coming? Because, like you guys mentioned, the food's expensive.
Here's how we get around it because people don't. Camera guys, you know what RSVP means? Like what it really actually means? RSVP. It's French. Respond, s'il vous plaît. Please respond. So we need to change the name to WYPR. Would you please respond? Because nobody knows what. Because you go, no, RSVP.
Yeah.
They
A couple
don't. It's saying
expletives in there.
please respond, please say something. When I like the idea. I kind of like that. I think it's actually smart and good for her for doing that and saying, hey, look, we'd love to have you, but it's just not going to happen. We'd love to know what you think about this.
Yeah.
This would be great. Flash at dailyflashshow.com. Drop us an email and we'll share your thoughts right here on the air. Let's jump into some of the trending news. The House recently passed legislation that actually could put an end to TikTok right here in the United States. Now, this bill will ban the Chinese-owned social media company if the app's U.S. operations are not sold within 6 months. Now, do you remember this? The last administration was
Yeah.
really going after this. Well, the bill now moves to the Senate where the fate remains up in the air. Many lawmakers have warned that TikTok, owned by China's ByteDance, thank you, poses a threat to national security. Apple and Google app stores would also be subject to fines if they continue to offer it to be downloaded. The bill's passage would force internet service providers to block access to TikTok. There's also the concern with Temu. They're saying Temu, when you sign the EULA on the other thing, you're giving them complete access to everything on your phone as well.
How about
So,
that?
and that's another Chinese-owned
Yeah.
company. It's going to be very interesting to see this, but it's also, I could see an American company trying to buy it, or at least
Yes.
taking majority stock in it, so it'd be an American company or whatever,
challenge
because
with-
it's there.
Yeah, the challenge with the bill that's in front of Congress that they just passed is there's all sorts of other language in there that ends up sort of bridging on your First Amendment rights, and a lot of people aren't talking about that. It's
good
buried
point.
within the language of the let's ban TikTok because it's owned by China.
China, stop
yeah.
this. Okay, that makes a
So-
lot of sense. And I think I heard this before in the Social Dilemma that came out, I think, on Netflix or whatever. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. You should watch it. You
Yeah.
should get your kids to watch it. But when there is no product, when you're on there, they're not selling me anything. You are the product.
Yes.
So people forget that, and then I think that changes your mind. Is like, well, if they're not selling anything, and if I'm not paying for whatever, I'm the product, which means I'm giving them everything. And my wife looks hot too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How about that? 82-year-old lawmaker Bernie Sanders, is proposing a 32-hour work week while demanding employers pay their workers for the full 40 hours. Sanders says moving to a 32-hour work week with no loss of pay is not a radical idea. He believes American workers are more productive than they were in the 1940s, and yet he claims millions of Americans are working longer hours for lower wages than they were decades ago. The lawmaker believes that gains from new technology, including AI, have amounted to big profits without making life easier for workers. In addition to reducing the standard work week by 20%, Sanders' 32-hour Workweek Act would require employers to pay time and a half for work days exceeding 8 hours. Workers who put in a 12-hour day would receive double time for each extra hour worked. A 2023 experiment with 4-day work weeks in Great Britain led to workers feeling less fatigued while their level of production stayed about the same.
So less fatigue is the new way of saying lazy. Really, it was. I can't. If this passes, I swear. I mean, like, first off, you're going to pay more now because a pizza company, let's say, I grew up in that business, is okay. We have 32 hours. What am I going to do if I don't have enough employees for our Friday, a Saturday? Or, and that's just one industry altogether. And you're going to see more of this. I can't get behind this reasoning of this 32-hour week. Now, a 4-day work week where you work maybe 9, 10, 12 hours a day, I can understand.
Yep.
And then you would have more time for the weekend. But this, and not getting any extra pay, you're saying, okay, I'm cool with cutting down to 32 hours.
Right.
Right?
But you're still going to have to pay that employee for a 40-hour work week. So
Which is ridiculous.
So what I think would happen is your workforce will start to shrink because employers aren't going to be able to afford to have more employees on their pay list.
And then they were talking about AI being a scare. Well, then
Yeah.
now AI will come in. You're actually opening the door for more AI to be in those industries. So think about that. All right, we're getting a real story behind the reasons why Don Lemon's X show is a no-go. The disgraced cable newsie presented a list of demands to Elon Musk before he would actually agree to the deal. Look at this. This is what Lemon wanted. A free Tesla Cybertruck.
Why?
$5 million
they're
upfront signing
cool.
bonus, exactly. An additional $8 million a year salary, equity stake in the multi-billion-dollar company, as well as the right to approve any changes in X policy as it relates to news content.
Oh.
He also demanded a private jet flight to Vegas, a suite for him and his fiancée, and wanted the company to pay for their food, drinks, and spa treatments. Well, Musk agreed to do a pilot with the fired CNN anchor despite a few of Lemon's upfront demands. The deal between the two soured, get it, Lemon? His deal. It was null and void just after a few hours after Musk watched his test show. Musk described it as dull, underwhelming. Lemon claims that his talk show was canceled because of free speech. Elon's going to tell you how he feels. He's like, "This. Why are you asking me?" He kept on like, "Why are you asking this? What?" And he didn't feel that it was, this is really what I want on my product altogether, which is, his Twitter. And he didn't want to hire him. Obviously, that was his audition, more or less. It was a test show, a spec show is what they call it, and it didn't impress him.
Did they give him money to shoot the pilot?
Yes.
Like, he gave him a pretty substantial amount of money, so it's not like he walked away without anything. Plus, he got a $23 million payout from CNN, didn't he?
He's got, yes, and then other people lost their jobs because they couldn't afford them. So think about that as well. We will have more Flash coming up. We're going to do some parenthood right after the break. Stick around. You're watching Daily Flash. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. This is one of my favorite times of the week. We're talking about parenthood. And it's really easy for parents to think of play as just a way for kids to burn off energy, but studies consistently show the positive impact of play on cognitive, emotional, and even social skills. So joining us right now, we got to get our expert. We have our parenting expert, Catherine Sellery. Hello, Catherine.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you on the other side of Earth right now, but yet your advice and the things you tell us are right where it needs to be. How is Hong Kong, by the way?
Oh, we're just having a blast. Just having a wonderful time.
All right, why don't you bring me back some kind of souvenir? But in the meantime, we need to talk about getting kids out and getting them to play. And we're talking specifically about structured play because really it's essential for kids of all ages, regardless of whatever limitation they might have. Let's talk about sports. How important is sports of any sort really for a child's development?
Sure. So, maybe you used to play with your kids all the time when they were little and you can't keep up anymore. And
right.
That's okay, right? That's okay. Sports are a great way for kids to exercise, have fun, make friends, develop key life skills. And it's good for them, not just physically, but mentally too. So you get to show up now and just cheer them on, whether they win or lose. Because few of our kids are going to be professional athletes. Yet learning a sport opens up doors to connection throughout their life, whether it's basketball or swimming, golf, hockey, tennis, soccer, volleyball, horseback riding, whatever they choose. It provides a social currency. So becoming competent at any sport is going to bring that sense of mastery and joy, and it's an avenue for socializing.
Oh.
But it's not without its challenges either. So kids can get discouraged seeing others excel faster than them, and peers can be unkind, like any of the other arenas that kids are in. So there is some temporary discomfort. It's not pleasant or fun. And if they happen to experience some of the tough stuff, it also provides an opportunity to practice assertiveness, which then builds self-confidence that they stood up for themselves. And it's an opportunity for kids to master the art of what other people say about me, what other people think about me is none of my business.
And what do you say to a kid? How do you know the difference when they go, I just don't like it, I don't want to do it, and they're really not interested, or is it because they're not doing well, or they're not feeling that success? Do you force them to kind of like, hey, work through this, or you're going to regret it if you drop? I mean, what do you say to them? Especially to like a 9-year-old.
Yes, well, usually I always read for what's behind the wanting to quit.
Okay.
Because wanting to quit is almost always a solution to getting out of something that's uncomfortable.
That makes sense.
So listen for the underlying, recognize the I want to quit as a symptom, not the real issue.
All right, so rugby is a very contact sport. In my family growing up, family game night was contact sport. How important? Not necessarily, but how about family game night? Is something like that important as well? I mean, do they kind of learn the same values?
So great. Yeah, so family game night is an exceptional time for bonding and building memories. And maybe like you recall from your own upbringing. Or maybe there are people out in the audience who didn't have that and they're the ones starting the tradition. It doesn't matter, whatever the case is. So whether you're learning something new or you play the same games over and over and over again. In our family, we do Uno Spin, Rumacub, card games, heart, spades, gin rummy, favorites. We play them over and over again. And game night is a perfect way for us to build the family time, build the bonds, have relaxed and fun, experiences together. But again, with little kids and sometimes older kids, it may be hard to enjoy a game when they aren't winning.
Okay.
So set up game night beforehand.
Okay.
By talking about the big feelings that may start arising when they start losing. And you can also say, and what are the feelings that arise when you're winning? So they can begin to go, yeah, I have different feelings arising under different circumstances. And then talk about it in advance. How's everybody want to proceed if those big feelings start arising and it's not fun anymore?
And it turns into a contact sport like my family. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up because do you let your kid win? You know, I mean, it seems like there's an age where it's like, Dad let me win, and they don't feel as accomplished. I mean, I always wanted to know about that. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it does really depend on the age of the child.
Okay.
And so when you have younger children, you know, it can be such, I mean, come on, the playing field is not even. It's a little bit like a handicap in golf.
Right.
You know, if the playing field isn't even, then, you know, you get the handicap. So it's a little bit like that.
Okay.
And I think it's hard for children to constantly be losing when the field isn't even.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I think it's okay to fudge a little bit with our children and give them the chance to feel like they're learning without always having to be with somebody who might be a master.
I think you're right. Well, that's basically how I describe working with Andrea. I mean, the whole time. I mean, it's like, will I ever win? You also say it's pretty important not to intervene and actually let the child take the lead. Explain that.
Yeah. So in the world of unstructured play, because we've been talking about the structured stuff, but in the world of unstructured play, self-directed play is essential for little kids to develop healthy inside. We want them to become more and more adventurous. So language skills, thinking skills, problem-solving ability, improving their motor skills, all of this they can learn in an unstructured play environment. And it builds self-confidence. So too much adult interference, you know, in playtime for little kids can stifle emerging self-regulation skills. So when they're allowed to take the lead in play, it builds self-regulation skills. It creates more independence. That helps them feel more confident. It's just all really good stuff. So follow their lead. Let them choose a game if they want to play it. Don't intervene if you can possibly, unless it's absolutely necessary. Just let them be.
Let them be a
Their approach to
kid.
an activity may be different, you know? Let them do what they want to do. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong.
Catherine, that's our time here. But of course, we want people at home to be able to check out freeparentingbook.com. Catherine Sellery, thanks for joining us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It's Thursday, which means it's time to check in with Tony Toscano to find out what's coming out of Hollywood and straight to your screen, no matter what size you're going to watch it on. With the latest, here's Tony!
Thanks, Mitch. Streaming on most video-on-demand platforms is the horror thriller The Piper. It stars Charlotte Hope and the late Julian Sands.
Your music, it is good, but soft. I'm looking for something controversial. Dangerous. What do you know about Catherine's first concerto?
You're going to perform the concerto for children?
She didn't want it performed. That concerto was what she was trying to burn when she set herself on fire.
When a composer is tasked with finishing her late mentor's concerto, she soon discovers that playing the music summons an evil force. I chatted with Charlotte Hope.
I hope they're terrified, but also in a kind of fun way, you know? Like, what I really love about this film is that, like, it is genuinely really scary, but it also doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, I think you can have a really good time watching it. But it's like, you know, it's grandiose and like chilling and creepy, but also like a really good time, which I think is kind of also important in horror movies.
The Piper is a surprisingly good effort to create a feeling of foreboding with its haunting score and solid performances by Charlotte Hope and Julian Sands, who passed away last year in a climbing accident. Although the film is slow to boil, it's watchable and very rewarding. Again, it's streaming on most video-on-demand platforms and gets a B. It's not rated. Streaming on Apple TV Plus is the historical drama Manhunt.
What happened? The president's been shot. Witnesses are saying it was John Wilkes Booth. Wait, the actor?
Do you know who I am?
I'm a symbol.
How does a well-known actor commit murder in front of an audience of 1,500 people and escape.
During the pandemonium that took place in the aftermath of Lincoln's assassination, a tight group of law enforcement sprang into action to catch the killer and the conspirators responsible. I chatted with Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, I mean, again, I read the book Manhunt, which is an incredible read. And I read a lot of articles about Baker, about what policing was back then. And again, as shady as he was, he did do some innovative stuff, introduce some new techniques. So you take the good with the bad. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't so much that I refocused on that time, but I did re-embrace the idea that it's always been chaos. We've always been teetering on the abyss.
This 7-episode historical drama is a must-watch series. With superb acting, cinematography, and a well-researched script, this is top-shelf TV. Again, Manhunt is streaming on Apple TV Plus and gets an A. It's not rated. For the Daily Flash, I'm film critic Tony Toscano.
Welcome to Daily Digits this week, where we dive into some of the more interesting numbers from around the world. Your first number this week is 80.
80.
That would be 80 stories, is how tall a proposed $12 billion skyscraper would stand in the heart of New York City. Developed by casino company Wynn Resorts, if the project is approved. The ambitious project, dubbed Wynn New York City, would sit alongside real estate kingpins in New York and would be placed on the west side of Manhattan. It would be an all-inclusive city almost, with a luxury casino for the first 5 floors of the main skyscraper, with luxury hotels for guests completing the huge build.
Wow.
There would also be a second town in there, in the second building, where there would be a public school in it that would hold about 750 students for the residents. A staggering 35,000 jobs would be created by the project. The biggest issue, though, New York venues don't have a license to allow for people to gamble at casinos. But as we've seen across the country, gambling laws are loosening up, especially if you're in Florida. They drive in your head. Likely be approved if they can come up with $500 million needed for the license fees to run the casino. Now, your next number today is 2, as if you want to travel on the recreation of one of the biggest tragedies in the history of maritime, the Titanic.
Oh.
Yep, those of you who want to potentially relive the voyage of the Titanic will be able to do it, hopefully, on Titanic 2 by the year 2027. Australian mining tycoon Clive Palmer has revived the building of Titanic 2, which was initially pitched in 2012. Palmer's idea is that a 56,000 gross ton 9-deck ship would carry 2,500 passengers with the same interior spaces and cabin layouts as the original Titanic. Hopefully it'll be more successful than the first time, because that thing hit like a big iceberg. So it's going to have the same. They're working out if they're going to have the same 3-tiered class system, where everybody got shoved in the bottom if they weren't. So luxury cruisers, would you do this? I mean, how much there is to do out there with good cruises? Why would you do this?
I agree with you, because and the Titanic, I mean, the ships nowadays are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And the Titanic was relatively small, so I don't know if I'd enjoy it. So
I don't know if the drink package comes with a floating icicle known as Leo DiCaprio along with it. So.
That is true. All right, thank you there, Maddie. We have more Daily Flash coming to you just a few moments, right after this quick commercial break.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everybody. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment.
If you watch the show at any time here, I love taking showers in the morning. It just kind of starts my day. I can think, and this morning I got thinking about what's in a name. Right?
Okay.
Like, I think some of the things that are out there are named the wrong name. And I think of things like FedEx. Remember, it used to be called Federal Express, and they called FedEx, right?
Yeah,
afterwards.
Sure.
All right, so some new names I think we should change. Number 1, for dentures, we should call them substitutes.
Substitutes.
Tooths.
Substitutes.
Yes, substitutes.
Oh, I like that. That's catchy.
And if you have a jet ski, call it a boater cycle.
A boat? Ooh.
Something like that. You guys see where I'm going with all these?
Yes.
Astronomers, the people that study the sky, should be called scientists.
Scientists. These are all good.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
X should be called Twitter. And Tom Cruise should be called Jimmy on One. Don't you guys think that would be? There he is. There's Tom Cruise. Hiding behind camera one, waiting for him. When he first came out, got Tom Cruise doing something?
Yes.
That Days of Thunder thing happening over?
He's like Will said, he's too tall.
Well, he's got it. He's on my man maker for when I have to stand over there. So that's
he's getting ready for a new role.
Is that what it is?
You know, and he wants you to know that he's behind the camera.
So welcome Daily Flash with we'll call him Jimmy on One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy, you know when you get called out, that means you're like permanently now a part of the crew. Serious.
There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
You got a nickname.
And he gets all my wrestling references.
Right.
So, yeah.
And he gets Matt's wrestling references.
Well, the House recently passed legislation that could put an end to TikTok here in the U.S. The bill would ban the Chinese-owned social media company if the app's U.S. operations aren't sold within 6 months. The bill now moves to the Senate, where its fate remains up in the air. Many lawmakers have warned that TikTok, owned by China's ByteDance, poses a threat to national security. App and Google App Stores would be subject to fines if they continue to offer the download. The bill's passage would force internet service providers to block access to TikTok.
You know, I'm just watching that video. I'm like, I'm for this ban already because I'm just watching that video of like everybody's. You can make so much money. First off, no surprise there. But they say it's a very addictive app as well.
Sure.
You can't just watch one, and I think then they know what you like, and you just keep going, and that's. I don't have it. I had it, past tense, and then I was like, I'm spending too much time off this. I got all the other ones. I don't need it, and people will send you links, and you go there, and it wants you to.
Well, I think the concern with any app, not just TikTok, but with all of them, is like, what are you giving that app's creator company access to on your phone?
Yeah.
Because once it's installed on your phone, there's a number of things that they can probably get into your phone and take a look at, which is a little nerve-wracking.
And even down to the microphone, the camera on your phone. There's even even in places where you should think I should have complete privacy. If that phone is with you, it could be a listening device, and you've given them that. And granted, they probably are listening to everything we're saying, but a lot of people are like, well, who cares? I don't care. Until you get something exposed, then you will care.
Right. And I think when you look at the bill that Congress passed, there's a lot more in it than just banning TikTok. So as with any bill Congress passes, there's always like
it's the
100
nice
pages of stuff that they try and like push in there that it can be a bit concerning, because a lot of people have raised some flags about language that's in there with regard to free speech, because it could give certain powers to executives that could ban other things at their own will. So that's, it's not just about banning TikTok. There's more to it.
But what's the fastest way to go through? You're like, well, first it's fear, number one.
Yes.
China's going to do it. Number two, it's like, I want to get my kids off this thing, so let's ban it.
Yeah.
And people like me, I don't want to deal with it anymore. So we go, and it's that nice, pretty bow, but we need to know what else is in that bill, because it like you had just mentioned, like they'll have some kind of an oil bill that has something to do with crushed white strips being banned in Puerto Rico or something.
Or
like
a
that.
study on frogs that play saxophone.
Yes.
I just want people to stop making stupid videos in the middle of the street. That's all I want.
And then think about and then they'll sell it that way. Think about how many people are going to be saved if we get rid of it. So think about that.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah,
we
let
would
us
love to
know.
hear from you. Flash@dailyflashshow.com is our email address, and more Flash after this.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. Caitlyn Jenner and Lamar Odom are teaming up to launch a new podcast. The famed Olympian was previously married to Kris Jenner, and Odom is divorced from Khloe Kardashian. Both are no longer on speaking terms with their exes. Their new project is called Keeping Up with Sports. 3 episodes have been recorded so far, and the first episode will debut in a couple of weeks. Boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard will be their premier guest. The duo will offer their opinion on all things sports related. Caitlyn won a gold medal at the 1976 Olympics as Bruce Jenner, and Odom played for the championship LA Lakers team. They will eventually be joined by a third host.
All right. Mauricio Umansky and Kyle Richards are getting a divorce, and their separation can actually be seen on reality TV. Video from their breakup will appear on the new season of Buying Beverly Hills. Check this out.
I've been so stressed, and the travel obviously affects, us.
We wanted to have this conversation when we were all together for obvious reasons. I'm really sorry, you guys.
She wanted the separation.
How will this affect the business?
The agency being a large family, just like every family, there's conflict.
Now, if Umansky leaves the show, it'll be called Escape from Witch Mountain. Am I right? Like, see, if you know this, you'll get that joke. You'll get it. Apparently, the combos in the trailer are not staged. Instead, Mauricio says that cameras were set to roll on the family in Aspen last summer. The same weekend, the news of their split actually made headlines. Mauricio says that the family decided to reveal their issues in front of the cameras, and they agreed to allow the show to include the personal moments, sure at a nice nominal fee. Season 2 of Buying Beverly Hills currently airing on Netflix.
Actress Olivia Munn has revealed she has breast cancer. She says she hopes her story serves as a reminder about the importance of early detection. The 43-year-old Munn posted the news on her Instagram page. She says she's had 4 surgeries during the past 10 months. 30 days after a biopsy confirmed she had cancer, she decided to have a double mastectomy. Munn said she took a genetic test last year in order to be proactive about her health. She said she tested negative for 90 different cancer genes, and she also said she had a normal mammogram late last year but was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 months later.
You gotta say, I mean, that's pretty brave to do that, number one. But you know, it does say a lot how far we've come along in cancer and breast cancer research as well. And if she's out here saying, listen, do this, and she's willing to say, I did it, and it probably saved my life, obviously that can speak very, very volumes.
Proactivity and prevention, it's all a big part of it.
that.
Well, sequels dominated the weekend box office numbers. Kung Fu Panda 4, starring the voice of Jack Black, secured the top spot for the second week in a row. The movie's made nearly $90 million in domestic ticket sales since it opened 2 weeks ago. As for the rest of the top 5, Dune Part 2 landed a second place finish with $8 million. The Mark Wahlberg feel-good story Arthur the King made more than $7 million. Wahlberg stars as a mountain climber who's joined by a stray dog on a 435-mile journey through the Dominican Republic. Imaginary, about a possessed teddy bear, finished in 4th place with $1.7 million, and the bodybuilding romance Love Lies Bleeding opened in 5th with about $1 million. They will all be facing Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which opens this weekend.
Yeah, you want to check that out. Paul Rudd, of course, and all the original Ghostbusters are going to be in Bill Murray, of course, and Dan Aykroyd. I think it's very nostalgic, and it's interesting to see. At the same time, it's like I'm tired of sequels, but they come with the built-in support or the fan base.
Fan base, yeah.
And all together. And you want to see more originality, but you can see why the sequels still do well, because people really want more.
Well, and I think the remake they did a few years ago was done really well.
I think so too, yeah.
And those things can be a complete failure or they can be fantastic, and that happened to be fantastic.
And it looks like they can hand this over to a new generation too, because with the kids and that sort of thing, and growing up that way too.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's going to be a great thing to see this weekend. We have more Flash coming to you. Don't worry, right around the corner. You're watching Daily Flash. By the way, our website open right now, dailyflashshow.com. We'll have more right after this.
Open 24/7, right?
Yes, we just got the sign lit.
Drive through.
Yes. Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. You know, this week marks World Water Day, and joining us now to talk about the health and safety of our drinking water, of course, is Jim Murphy of the National Wildlife Federation. Jim, thanks for joining us. What should people know about where their water comes from?
Well, our water comes from the streams and wetlands that are around us, and right now those streams and wetlands, unfortunately, are at risk. A Supreme Court decision in 2023 rolled back basic pollution and destruction protections for over half of wetlands and millions of miles of streams.
Wow. What does that mean maybe for my local community?
It means that the water that you've taken for granted for 5 decades now may be at risk of pollution and may not be safe. So action needs to be taken to ensure that those protections are put back in place.
You know, it's the little things. What's maybe something that we can do right there within our home, or maybe civically? What are some things that we could do?
Yeah, certainly asking your state and local leaders to step up and fill that hole that the Supreme Court put in basic pollution protections for waters, and also asking members of Congress. Water is important. All people agree that we need clean water. And to make protecting clean water a top priority.
Absolutely. Jim, I want to thank you for joining us here. Now, if you want to find out more information, you at home, you can check out WaltonFamilyFoundation.org. All righty, thank you.
Great,
We
thank
are
you.
living in the digital age, but sometimes we all need help from a real-life expert, especially when it comes to filing our taxes.
If filing your taxes has you feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. It's not easy to know all the ins and outs and to make sure you're doing them accurately and to your advantage. The latest announcements from the #1 ranked best-selling tax software with access to live tax experts, Intuit TurboTax may be the solution.
So tax complexity is continuing to increase for many taxpayers and is becoming more and more important to proactively seek help from an expert. For example, this year, many taxpayers looking for expert help note that they have retirement or rental property income, are filing multi-state taxes, and are newly self-employed.
In fact, a recent Intuit Credit Karma survey revealed that many Gen Z filers are creating LLCs for their digital side hustles.
45% of Gen Z consider themselves digital side hustlers. This includes things such as developing branded content on social media, selling goods on Etsy and eBay, and growing paid audiences on platforms such as Substack. So many filers are seeking live support, especially with multiple income sources. It can feel a bit overwhelming.
Wong says TurboTax has teamed up with independent verified pros to allow tax filers to fully hand their taxes off to a local expert that TurboTax matches based on the filer's unique needs, such as Wong, who will get to know them and their tax situation. Tax filers can continue to work with their verified pro throughout the year and next year for their filing needs. And since the verified pros are backed by Intuit TurboTax, accuracy is 100% guaranteed.
So the benefit is that you also build a lasting relationship either virtually or in person. I have so many clients that say they just feel more confident when they have a live person who knows them and their situation, and can take the worry of taxes off their hands.
Wong says local in most states, 76% of U.S. tax filers have an Intuit TurboTax verified pro within a 45-minute drive. This service also benefits tax pros who have the opportunity to grow their own tax business with the support of Intuit through marketing, accuracy guaranteed software, and office efficiencies.
And if you need more incentive, we are offering people who file with an Intuit TurboTax Verified Pro before March 31st a $100 gift card.
To learn more, visit pros.turbotax.intuit.com.
Colorectal cancer is the leading cause of cancer death in young people. Check out these steps everyone can take to reduce their risk of developing this deadly disease.
March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Dr. James T. McCormick with the American College of Surgeons has more.
We've been noticing an increased rate of colorectal cancer in people under age 50. We're not quite sure why that's happening, but we do know that people that were born in the 1990s are 2 times more likely to have colorectal cancer than those born in the 1950s.
Fortunately, colorectal cancer is highly preventable and treatable when caught early.
Regardless of age, anyone with any symptoms that could be remarkable for colorectal cancer should get a colonoscopy. Bleeding, bloating, abdominal pain, any change in your bowel habits, that should prompt that. Also, anyone who is age 45 or greater, regardless of whether they have symptoms or not, should get a screening test for their colon. And lastly, if you're interested in decreasing your risk of colorectal cancer, then healthy eating habits and exercise certainly can help. Little changes can make a big difference.
To learn more, visit facs.org/colorectal cancer.
A breakfast-themed house with a butter-shaped chimney is available for a 3-night stay. The Eggo House of Pancakes is furnished with breakfast-inspired decor, including pancake-inspired beds with strawberries and cream sheets and pillows. The house is located in the popular town of Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Oh.
The folks at Eggo describe the town as the pancake capital of the world.
Yep.
The company says any flapjack-loving fan will love this unique vacation destination. The home transports visitors into a pancake paradise from the moment they step inside. The kitchen is stocked with Eggo's frozen pancakes. They also have a fridge full of mini pancakes for making s'mores over the fire pit. You'll find a maple syrup fountain and maple-infused scents throughout the house. The rental is listed on Home to Go for $0.
Yeah.
They pick you. The company says it's not a contest. They're offering 4 3-night stays through the end of this month on the website Home to Go.
All right, so you can let go of my Eggo house. I want to go in there. Okay, the House of of pancakes is great because Gatlinburg, and Matt and I have gone to Gatlinburg a number of times for work, and you go down the main strip, you can count, I'm telling you, within a mile, you'll find about 12 pancake places.
Serious?
I'm serious. It's pancakes houses everywhere. We counted them one time, like 1, 2, 3, and they're everywhere. But here's the thing. Eggos are waffles, right?
They're making pancakes now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are you a pancake or waffle guy?
I like a waffle.
Yeah. I'm a waffle guy too.
Yeah.
I think it's because when you pour the syrup, it goes in little
Yeah, the
individual
little
squares, and it feels like you don't have to have as much.
Have
right?
you ever had bacon waffles?
Bacon?
Yeah.
I've never had. It's
A
like built
Belgian
inside
waffle with bacon inside.
Oh, I'm sold already.
With maple syrup? Oh,
I'm in. I want it now. Get it to me now. I love it.
I like the silver dollar pancakes.
About that size?
Yeah, the smaller ones.
Here's the thing. Okay, and when they tell you if you can, how to make the pancakes, they'll say make 12. I think they're thinking of like the little silver dollar size ones, because when I make pancakes, I'm like this, where flip it up in the air. So I don't know. All right, we have more Flash coming up around the corner. Tell you what, new movies coming out.
This is Tim. Tim is all about time, and if you've ever had a chance to look into Tim's cold, dead eyes, you'll see that it's time for you to follow us on social media. Sure, there's 10,000 social sites out there, and we don't have the time to name them all. Seriously, just ask Tim. So take the time to look for Daily Flash TV on your favorite social sites and start following us. That's all the time, Tim. Goodbye.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. A comedian who is co-parenting his autistic son is faced with crucial decisions about their future, so he decides to go on a life-changing cross-country road trip. This is today's must-watch movie, Ezra.
My man Ezra, flying without a net so that he could order himself a... iced tea, please. The doctor who first told me my son was autistic could have saved us both a lot of time if he just said the truth. Autistic kids don't give a... You want me to put him in a special needs school? Jenna knows I'm broke.
She knows you're still not over her. The man your age shouldn't be living with his father.
He led 20 kids onto Washington Street.
Your son has been a danger to himself. He's not dangerous. He's a challenge. Nobody wants to do the work.
Now I see where the dangerous behavior comes from.
Son of a...
You want to do something for your son? You get yourself to L.A. Jimmy Kimmel wants to book you.
What?
They're not going to fly you. Is that going to be a problem?
No.
Hey, what did you do?
Ezra, get in the car. I need to get him away from here.
Todd taking the car. They're making him a side pop.
All I ever wanted was just to protect our boy.
Well, I'm protecting him now.
Give your Uncle Nicky a hug, huh? Come on, come here.
Hey, where you going, kid? You know, the word autism comes from the Greek, in your own world. I don't want him in his own world. I want him in this world. That kid is the one thing that I can't get wrong.
Just look him in the eye. Looking a horse in the eye is like sharing your soul.
Where the hell are you?
Taking a little time off with Ez.
It's not a good time to take off, Max.
You're fighting for something. You might have to suffer consequences, but it's worth it because you did it. Because you love your kid.
A dad's job is to take his son down the field. And if he gets tackled, all that dad wants is for that kid to pick up the ball and to take it the rest of the way.
Wow, what a cast, right? That is very good. Now, if you want to see something better, there's a band called Better Than Ezra. If you want.
Yes, you're right.
Sorry I had to leave you with that bad joke. Say bye. Get me out of
Bye.
this.
Be good, everybody. We'll see you later.